Working at the Arabian Radio Network, Steve, in Dubai.
Other ARN.
The other ARN, very great company, and I'm the content director for Virgin Radio, which is the CHR brand as part of the network.
And I hear there's a lot of Aussies working at ARN.
Yeah, there are. Our Chief Operating Officer is Greg Worthington. He's been there for about a year or so now. We've got Josh Bastide, who's formerly of ARN and also Nova Entertainment, TUE. He's the Chief Commercial Officer for ARN. We've got Maz Hakim, who's working at Virgin Radio with me. She's co-hosting The Night Show with James Everton, who's an English guy, a show called Maz and James Live. And of course we can't forget Chris Fade, who's been with Virgin Radio for 10 years now. Just celebrated his 10th anniversary, and he hosts the breakfast show, the Chris Fade Show, with Pretty Malik and Big Rossi. That's just a few of the Aussies floating around. I'm sure I could find another couple in, if I think about it some more.
And there's a few AFTRS graduates in there too.
Yeah, Maz of course graduated from AFTRS, as did Andrew Harrison. Andrew Harrison co-hosts the breakfast show with Natalie Price, who's also another Aussie, Harry and Pricey. They're doing breakfast on Dubai 92.
You've moved around quite a bit. You were in Russia for a while and elsewhere in Europe?
Yeah, I was. Of course, not quite my native tongue, but I grew up in a Russian house in Australia, went to Russian school for about 13 years, so I figured at some point I needed to work in my native country, so I got to work in Moscow before I came to Dubai. So I left Australia in August of 2012. It's a few years ago now. I travelled for what I thought was going to be 5 months. Ended up landing a job in Moscow. I didn't even know if I was going to be working in radio, but I decided why not, give it a go. Had some contacts that that were given to me before I got there, and ended up being program director for a station called Best FM. And I was also consulting to a number of other stations in the same group. A company called Multimedia Holding. Their biggest station is a station called Nasha Radio, which is a Russian rock format. Has about 8 million listeners nationally, and one of the most successful brands in that country. And I was working for the AC brand as program director before I left.
So radio's booming in Arabia, it's booming in Russia.
Yeah. Russia's always booming in so many ways. I was there for about a year and a half, and I had no real plans of leaving, but I knew Steve Smith, who was the COO of ARN at the time, and just got a call out of the blue, really, seeing if I was interested in a position that had come up at ARN. And yeah, a couple of months of discussions and travel back and forth, and I ended up accepting a job to be the PD of Virgin Radio, and haven't really looked back. It's been a great opportunity, a great company, and Virgin is certainly one of the most famous international brands, not just in radio but just generally, of course.
What innovations have you put in place since you've been there at Virgin?
Yeah, look, I mean, we're certainly the biggest CHR brand in the country, and like we've heard at the conference here, just really trying to expand on the content from all the personalities. That's the big one, and then getting that content across all of our platforms. So Virgin is certainly a station which has got some big personalities, big shows, and like we've heard from so many people here at Radio Day Zero, it's all about that. It's all about getting that content across all those platforms. That's
well,
been
we
a big
have
one
heard
for
a
us.
lot of interesting speakers here at the conference.
Yep.
Pick one or two that have interested you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was lucky enough to go to the Elvis Duran Masterclass, last night, and look, geez, that was money well spent. I'm so glad I did. To spend 75 minutes listening to Elvis Duran talking about himself, talking about his journey through radio, his way of doing radio, which as we know has been incredibly successful for so many years on Z100 and stations across America and across the world. And he's such a great storyteller. He's got such a great cast of people on his show, and seeing how that show's evolved and hearing the stories around that was fantastic. It was really inspiring, actually. I think his message that at the end of the day, the one-on-one beauty of radio is still the most powerful thing that we have. It's still stronger than all the other platforms combined. The storytelling, the great camaraderie of a radio show. You can't beat that.
There was a radio futurist today too.
Yeah, Ben Hammersley. I thought that was probably the best session that I saw today. Talking about where radio is going to be in 5 years' time, 10 years' time. And I think the most popular person at radio days has been Alexa. She's been brought up a lot. And really, like he was talking about his 3-year-old daughter, and for her, if she's not swiping something, if he's not skipping tracks, for her it's something foreign. I mean, the story that he was talking about when his daughter's in the back of the car and he's listening to terrestrial radio, she starts to freak out and starts to cry because she can't change it. So for her,
Can't say Alexa skip.
Well, exactly. So I thought that was a really, really good session. But I think that the takeaway from that, I mean, he did kind of, I guess, provoke us to say that radio is dead, but he also said that, audio is going through a golden age, where we're consuming audio in so many different ways. And that's actually, at the end of the day, how we're going to make, radio continue to be a really powerful medium, for years to come.